Hi, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Time for another Do with Dwayne and I on the Bill Crane Report. And we got a lot of good things to talk about today. A lot of excitement, a lot of stuff. And Dwayne?
A lot of stuff, that's right.
And Dwayne, you have a couple of things to kick us off.
Yeah, Bill gets the Wall Street Journal and he called the attention to a rather lengthy article in here that it's electric vehicles. Now, I don't know who's pushing and who, but we're going way, way too fast on the timetable on electric vehicles. This article kind of says, slow down a little bit. You're getting way ahead of the technology. Yeah. Even to the point it says electric vehicles require a lot of spare parts that ain't out there. They're just not there. And if you've got an electric vehicle and you break some kind of, electrical gizmo in it, chances are you're going to have a hell of a time finding extra parts for these things.
Yeah.
But that being said, but the thing was that we're just not ready for this.
The infrastructure isn't there.
No. Did you see? Well, you read it first.
Yeah.
The same thing. And some of the parts are a little bit scary if you read it into them.
Very scary.
Maybe a little more than a little bit. Yeah, it seems that, everybody knows that the two elements that go into an electric vehicle that are key, the two items are key. One is a permanent magnet, and number two is lithium in the batteries, to make the batteries. Well, as pointed out in here, we're only at 4% of the producer of the rare earths that go into this, making these things. Guess who it is? Well, you know who it is. It's who owns it? China. 82 or 88% or something of the world's supply is controlled by China. So, in essence, every time you put a electric vehicle on the market and it gets sold on the road, it's actually being controlled by China. Because if they don't want to produce or give rare earths, you're done.
You might as well say they control the rare earth for the world. And if they ever decide to say, U.S., forget about it. Not selling them to you. The hell with you.
That's right. That's all they have to do.
Then that just about will shut down every bloody electric car that's being built.
Not just the cars, everything else.
Yeah.
I think almost every electric motor uses a permanent magnet. Mm-hmm. And you just take that out of your daily life.
Yeah.
You're
the
done.
other thing, too, that we're overlooking in this march of madness to go electronic is, the vehicle I want has only got a 275-mile range. Well, I was going up to Maine for the weekend.
No.
No charging stations up there?
Yeah, they pretty much tell you that if you're going to go electric vehicle, you have to have a internal combustion with it. You got to have a second vehicle if you're going to travel, unless you're one of these urban commuters.
They did separate from that story, they did a survey, and I read that indicated that a lot of the Teslas that are being bought are the third car in the family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's the kind of funny little runabout thing that we'll try to use to save the planet.
The missus gets a good time out of it. She can go to the grocery store with it.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? Now, you have two Toyotas in your family. Toyota brought out a SUV recently. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Sequoia?
No, the one they revived. They had it before.
Venza.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Venza. It's smaller now than it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they brought this out. Now, they brought it out as a rechargeable electric.
Hybrid electric. Yeah.
Hybrid electric, yeah. Now, to my mind, it's a beautiful car. Oh, I love the looks of it. It's the right size, everything. But if they had gone at this as a straight hybrid, it would have been a winner. But it's a rechargeable electric. Guess what the range is at full charge? 28 miles.
Yeah, it's not much.
No. So are you going to use that car, let's just say, to go to Norwood shopping, and then over to Rentham and pick up something and come home? You going to actually go in the garage and plug the stupid thing in and recharge it?
Yeah, that's the whole point. Because
Every time you use
after
it.
a while, you're not going to bother anymore because it's a hybrid. Also, it will run on a gasoline engine.
And
Also,
that's exactly what it will do. It'll act like a hybrid.
People are just being people. Are just going to say, forget it.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'll do it.
It's raining like hell. I'm not
it's
going to
cold
go back
day,
out
I'm not
there
doing
and
it.
plug it in and all that stuff. That was a big mistake by them. They should make that back into just a straight hybrid, but they're charging a couple of $1,000 extra.
Yeah, that's a problem. Is the cost.
Yeah.
And not only that, when are we going to catch up and realize that everybody that's the big bucks daddy that buys the $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 electric, he's not paying any gas tax.
That's right.
But he's using the road. Yeah,
That's
roads
right,
and
using
bridges.
our road.
Yeah.
And also, the guy that buys the most expensive Tesla, it's about $120,000.
It's well over $100K.
Now, so the guy that buys that has got some coins,
Oh, of
right?
course.
And we, the taxpayers, are paying him a $7,500 rebate to buy the
it.
foolish
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. That's a good point. I thought
The
if
guy
anything,
that needs it the least is getting the most.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we're getting screwed.
we're paying for it.
Yeah. I mean, it is totally, to be blunt about it, ass backwards.
Yes, everything's flipped
Yeah.
upside down.
Who the hell are we trying to help?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the rich get richer, I guess.
that's right.
Now, by the way, skipping ahead to one of my notes. So you buy a Tesla, but you can't buy it from a dealer.
No, they don't have.
They
a
don't
dealer
have
network.
any. So they are having to recall, I think, 29,000 Teslas for a problem. It's a problem, okay? And they're having to recall. Can you imagine recalling 29,000 cars and not having a dealer network? How?
I don't
in
know how
the-
they do that.
How can you do it? But that's what they're doing. It'd be interesting to see how all this
Yeah.
works out.
Apparently, they must have a designated repair
I think
vendor
they,
someplace.
I think they
that
sell them out of stores, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Sometimes in
out of
malls and- yeah.
storefronts. Yeah. They might have one in
But
the
I
window.
guess your point was in my. I'm curious too. Where do you, if you got a recall, where do you take it?
Yeah.
You don't take it back to the storefront.
How about this, Dwayne? How about even a worse case? How about if Tesla comes out and says, we're recalling these things and we recommend you do not drive them because of the risk of a fire?
Yeah,
What do you do then?
that's happened with other manufacturers.
Yeah.
Ford had one, and
Yeah.
GM had one. a
Yeah,
couple
and they're
of
going
them.
to have them with electric, with the batteries and all. So where do you go? You just leave it in the garage?
I have no idea.
As you say, we're getting way ahead
Ahead
of
of it, yeah.
ourselves.
When a car company says by 2028 we'll no longer produce
Yeah.
internal,
Yeah.
that just can't happen.
No, and I think that Chrysler is probably, or whatever they call themselves these days,
Stellantis. Or,
probably really jumped the gun.
yeah.
The big Chrysler, the 300.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's a dinosaur. It's an antique, but still, it's reasonably priced. It's very comfortable. It is a beautiful car to drive, and it's got that nice big V8 in it. So they're killing it because they don't want to make any more internal combustion engines.
They're really short. I think the 23 or 24 is going to be the last.
I think so, yeah. 24, I think it's going to be the last one for
Because
those
I saw in one of your
cars.
magazines there
Yeah.
about. But people are when I think of Chrysler, do you think of the big 300, the big?
The big one.
I think of the 800 horsepower Charger.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
To me, that the Dodge. I mean, those things are just
Charger
fire eating.
or the Challenger.
Or the Challenger.
Yeah.
They're just fire eating.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
fire monsters. You know,
And these are muscle cars,
big time.
big time.
Do you
And
know
they-
that the top one, I don't know which one it is, it's like 850 or 875 horsepower, something like that. You can't buy that at the dealer and take it out and drive it. You got to go to a
Training
Dodge
class?
training thing, pass that thing, and then the dealer can turn that on. Otherwise, it's only like it's just a little 700 horsepower engine.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same thing with the Viper.
Yeah, the Viper was
In
like,
fact, the Viper had problems with oversteer, a couple of other things too. And if someone was inexperienced driving that, it was a death trap.
yeah.
Well, maybe that's an over-exaggeration, but it was difficult to control.
I asked a Viper owner about it. We were talking about his car. I said, "How is it for taking like on trips and stuff?" He says, "I don't take it on a trip." He says, "I don't trust it to get more than 25, 30 miles from home." He says, "It breaks down so damned easy." That he said, "That always got problems."
I'll keep pushing my 12-year-old Buick.
Yeah, Buick's got some nice SUVs.
Yeah,
Boy,
they do.
I don't know what happened, but when we went back to the Midwest, two of the Monica's brothers both went to Buick SUVs. Really beautiful cars.
They've come a long way with the SUVs. Yeah, they've found a niche, semi-luxury niche.
Yeah.
Better than the bare bone Subaru or something like
exactly.
that. Yeah, and people are willing to pay for that.
Yeah.
Comfort. Yeah, this whole electric thing, we're going way too fast. And by the way, now, so folks, when you buy your electric car and you go out to the garage for your charging station and you plug that puppy in and charge up the battery, you ought to go take a look at your electric meter and watch that wheel go around and around and around.
Just also be aware that if you didn't put in a high or expensive auxiliary system for about $8,000 to $12,000, when you plug that in, depending on the car, it's going to plug in at 3 to 5 miles per hour, meaning that if you put it in for 10 hours, you're going to get 30 to 50 miles out of it the next day.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah?
Here's something that nobody really wants to talk about. We're coming into winter.
Yeah.
What happens to batteries in cold weather? They go about half. And lithium batteries in those cars is no different.
No different than any other battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got 300-mile range optimal, you better figure 150 if
Yeah.
it's 5 or 10 degrees outside.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, folks, but when you plug it in and you're watching that meter go whirring around, so where does the electricity come from?
Bill, don't you know that when you go electric on anything, you change your house over from fossil fuels to electric. Somehow the power ferry just comes down and loads all this stuff up.
That's it? The power ferry?
Yeah, it must be.
Oh, wow.
There's no fossil fuels involved. It's just,
I think Dwayne's having some fun with us right now, folks.
you have to you have to divest yourself of fossil fuels
Yeah.
and fossil fuels investment because we don't need them
Don't
anymore.
need it. No. But the power plants run on natural gas.
Oh,
And are
well,
going
You're not supposed to think about that.
Oh, okay. The other thing, too, that's kind of fun, Dwayne was talking about, is charging the beast.
Yeah.
Well, if you do it on house current, you're in for a bit of a challenge there. Call 10 or 12 or 14 hours to get a charge.
Yeah.
But you got to upgrade to the 230 service.
Yeah.
Yeah, that costs money.
They only start about $8,000 to $12,000
having
for
a,
a
well,
converter.
but you can probably get an electrician to come in and do it for a little less than that. Yeah, right. Yeah, guess again. The folks, the electricians must be laughing about this. This is great. We'll have to put on a couple of more guys to keep up with the demand.
I don't know what's going to happen. But we're at an age that's probably not going to have a hell of a lot of effect on us.
I don't think so, because we're gonna hit the wall.
Yeah.
The reality wall. All right? And we have got to work in this country with our own energy.
Yeah. And
Qatar or Saudi Arabia or whomever is not going to send their access to us.
But I suspect that when the stuff hits the fan, you and they'll be taking our driver's license away from us
Yeah. And not only that,
if we're still around.
but if it hits the fan shortly,
Yeah.
the Republicans will get blamed for it.
Of course.
Oh, you damn people, you know, they're big cars and all that.
But we are looking at, now we got 2 cars. We seriously don't need 2 cars because hers is older than mine. Mine's not new anymore, but we rarely ever both go on at the
Yeah.
same time. Hers sits in the garage for 2-3 weeks, sometimes at all. It never gets moved.
You got to fire it up once a
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
She takes over the senior center. That's where she is today. But that's what, 3 miles, 4
Yeah.
miles.
Well, I get 3 cars, but I also have 3 sons,
Yeah, you got drivers.
and I like to have Norfolk Auto do all my repair work. Knowing them, in fact, my stepfather used to own that place.
Okay.
So I have good relationship with Kevin. So I tell the boys, everything goes through me.
Yeah.
Bring the car here. I'll take it down
yeah.
there. You take one of my cars. So we could live with 2 easily.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
But
But like I said, if we go to 1, I said we'll trade both of them in, buy a nice car, because the reality is it's probably our last car.
the Lone Ranger,
This
the
is
last one.
the end of the road here.
Yeah.
So
Well, and we have to be realistic about this. I enjoyed a homily recently by, it was on TV, the Notre Dame Mass at 10 o'clock on Sundays. They have great homilies. They have different priests do it out there.
I hear it.
Yeah.
I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah,
usually.
you folks, yeah.
Monica watches. I
Yeah.
read in the paper.
And the sum and substance of his homily was, folks, as you age, like me, I think he said he was in his 70s. He said, you don't have a lot going forward. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But don't waste time on the past. Concentrate on the future and eternity. That is what your goal is, and that is what you want to think about. Never mind looking over your shoulder in the back and look out the back window to see what you should have done or could have
oh my
done
God,
or anything like that, because you don't have time for it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I thought to myself,
That's true.
that is the greatest. I was writing it down as he was going along.
I see things and I think, boy, I should pursue that. And I'm thinking, you can't. There's not enough time on the end.
There isn't.
My
I
son brought out that one big time about, it was probably been 9 years ago already, maybe less than that. Put a new roof on, and I had all the brochures from what kind of shingles did you want. And I'm looking at him. He was visiting. I don't know. He stopped around for what it was, and I said, "Well, these are lifetime. These are going to cost us lifetime warranty, and these are 30 years." And he says, "Well, he says you might as well go with 30 years, lifetime and 30 years. The same thing for you." Well, thanks a lot. He said, because you don't have 30 years. He said, so you might as well go with the cheaper ones.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, we have to think like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I have.
Kids can be blunt.
I get three of them
Yeah.
being blunt with me. Yeah. Including one of my boys who I said to him, well, you watch my TV shows, right? The Bill Crane Report? He said, Dad, I've lived the Bill Crane
Yeah.
Report for 50 years. I don't need to
I don't
watch
need to
any
watch
more
it,
of it. But anywho. All right. So we have another subject.
There was another one on here that was interesting. This is more of the editorial. And
Yes.
The Trump issue.
Yep.
It was very well timed because did you watch all the Trump's special the other night?
No, but I
was-
read everything that was published.
It was extremely interesting, and it's pretty much what you saw on TV was pretty much what is in the editorial.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of hullabaloo about nothing. Is what it was about what it came down to. What do they call it? The dews off the rose or some damn thing. It's not.
The bloom is off the rose.
That's what it is. I don't think you're going to see his influence as strong as it was. I don't think he's getting too much blowback from his own party right now.
He's getting blowback.
Yeah.
And he is, by the way, and he has for the last couple of days shut his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, I saw.
Yeah.
When these things come on, if it's a partisan or a speech or a rally, and it's being covered, I like to watch the channel that's opposite. I don't want to watch the channel that's a cheerleader, because all you're going to get is, yeah, that's it, yeah, go, man, go.
More of the
I want to
same.
see the other side, what they're going to say. Maybe not right, but some of it's right, some of it's wrong, but you get a whole different perspective if you do that. So I started out watching CNN. Got about halfway through, and then they just kind of like, oh God. They kind of brought away. So I turned over to Fox. I said, well, I'll watch it here. Hannity was being the cheerleader. And then
he goes off the reservation. doesn't
he was cheering for stuff.
Yep.
But then, remarkably, they quit carrying it. All of a sudden, they put it up in a corner here with no sound. And I thought, what the hell's going on? And they said, at that point, we've got the script. And there's really nothing there. They said, if it should get interesting, we'll go back to it. And they went off on to the missile in Ukraine and some other stuff. And I thought, well, even they're not covering it. They just walked away. There was a time that Fox would have never walked away from that.
Absolutely. They would have hung on every
Yeah.
word.
And what really surprised me towards the end, there was people leaving, just getting up and trying to go. And they showed them. They said, well, apparently they're either bored or something with it. He says he doesn't have control of the crowd here.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm afraid of is that he's finally going to understand that he has got to shut his mouth.
That was brought out in another program I watched up
Yeah.
in the higher. If you go way up into the 14 and 1500s
Yep.
up there, there's some programs
News
you don't
programs
see.
up there and
they're-
stuff,
well, you never know they're there if you
Yeah.
didn't fool around with a cable. One of them said that they called it the handlers. His advisors said, you read that teleprompter, you do not say one word that's not on that teleprompter. They said because he has got a habit of all of a sudden something at the teleprompter clicks something else he wants to, and he goes off on a tangent all on his own. And that's when he gets in trouble.
Yeah.
They said you stick to that teleprompter. If it says 1, 2, 3, 4, you say 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You say what that teleprompter says, and that's it. And you could see him a couple times. He wanted to go someplace else. It's just like there, you could see him back in the back say, there.
Yep, yep. And you're right. But what I'm concerned about, maybe I shouldn't be concerned about it. Maybe I should just say roll with the punches here and see what happens. But if he is able to constrain himself, if he is able to stop 90%, the name calling,
the childish,
the childish behavior. I'm getting you for that,
Yeah.
you SOB. Yeah. Well, if he can act like an adult,
yep,
a grown-up, okay,
the president.
he can be elected
He
president
could.
because he's got up here the noggin. And by the way, Republicans and Democrats alike support his programs.
Oh, sure.
Independence. You know, anyone that thinks for themselves can see this man is smart. He's got great ideas. He's an idea factory.
Now, another thing that was brought out, and it was one of the second idea, that editorial. Why are you announcing 2 years before the election? It's just unheard of. It's just something you don't, it's just, strategy-wise, they said it's poor. It's not something you want to do. You're laying your cards out. It's like going into a card game and say, this is what I got, this is what I'm going to play with. They said, you don't do that. But the two people that were analyzing it and the Wall Street Journal said there's a reason he did it. He's very much concerned about getting indicted soon. Maybe not tomorrow, but within he's looking, and his legal team are looking for defenses. And one of them is going to be, if I'm a declared candidate, this is simply it's a ruse to try to make me look bad. They're going to sue to not to have any action on that indictment until after the 24 election. By that time, their hope things just kind of go away.
He can pardon himself then.
Yeah, exactly. And they said, I didn't understand a lot of the legal stuff, but they said they can use this and he can use that as a, right now he said, that one guy, they kind of brought that up, he doesn't have a lot of defense on some of this stuff.
Do you think the January 6th, the drawn out nature of these hearings, do you think that's legit? Or do you think this is all political?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's totally one or totally the other, but I think that, well, a few of them got jail times, but I think the jail time should have been in decades, not months. In fact, I would not have been surprised in a situation, only because it's the United States, but if this was in any other country, they'd have been shooting, or they'd have been executed. But while it was going on, the authorities would have been laying into them.
You mean in Iran?
Oh, you don't have to go to Iran. I think that in a case, I think if the UK, if they were attacking Parliament with sticks and spears and beating the shit out of the bobbies or whoever they call them, I think there'd have been some dead ones.
Well, I agree with you totally. I think it's politically inspired and orchestrated, but it has to be investigated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. However, to draw it out, I mean, this far is silly.
Yeah, it gets to the point where you're gonna lose the interest of the country. Is what it happens, because as serious as things are, and not just that. I mean, no matter what it is, our psychic only will tolerate so much, and then we get bored with it, or we just shut it off.
I was listening this morning to the news, And the Republicans have some great plans. We're going to investigate this. We're going to investigate that. The Biden kids, Hunter Biden's laptop. We're going to look into that. We're going to look into this. Do you really think the American people want to see this kind of junk?
They're tired of this. They want you to
are.
sit down and get something done, not fight with each other constantly.
Exactly.
What happened, happened. It's just, they want to get rid of this. I'm not going to vote for this because you're a Republican, or I'm not going to vote for this because it's a Democrat idea. This has got to stop. This is killing us.
I'm going to change the subject to make a point.
Good.
Shootings in Boston.
Yep.
Searching for solutions. And here's the subtext right here. Local black clergy suggest self-imposed curfew after another falls to gun violence. And gunplay unnerves neighborhoods. This subtext I love. Council calls for hearings. What a bunch of weak weasels these people are.
There is no group in this state that's less effective and more politically motivated and misguided as the Boston City Council. Absolutely worthless.
Worthless is, that's actually the best thing you can think to say.
And dangerous on the other side.
That's right. This is nonsense, okay? How do you stop this? Well, number one, stop and frisk.
That's right. We tried
Turn the cops loose and say, we are going to allow stop and frisk. The Supreme Court has approved it. All right? That's number one. Number two, let's start enforcing the laws on the book.
Yeah.
The Bartley-Fox bill calls for 1 year mandatory jail sentence.
And nobody can get you out.
For illegally carrying a weapon.
That's right.
And it is not enforced. As Maura Healey, now that she's governor, is she going to say, well, I'm enforcing all the laws now? No. And this is madness.
Oh.
We're saying, what do we do? Oh, gee, let's have another hearing.
Well, they want, but there's going to be a camera there.
Or Little Miss Wu,
Yeah.
the mayor. Every time there's a death, we've got to stop this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've got to get.
Well, do something then.
That's exactly right. And that's what I scream at the newspaper every time I see it. And by the way, she loves having her picture taken.
Oh, don't they all?
Constantly in the Herald. But here's the thing. You ran for mayor.
Yep.
You said, I will take care of you folks. I will be a great mayor.
Yep.
And now all she can do is say, this is not going to be tolerated any longer. This has got to stop. But she doesn't do a bloody thing.
Your stop and frisk
Yep,
was effective.
it was.
It was effective in New York. It was
Rudy
effective here.
Giuliani.
What was the first reaction? The same black leaders that said we've got to stop the killings in our neighborhood were the first ones that complained about the stop and frisk now.
You're stopping our children.
You're stopping our black young men.
Yep. So you need to sit down with these people, all right? And Mrs. Wu needs to sit down with these people, call them in to a public hearing, and say you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I know that's the problem right there.
That's right.
That's exactly the problem.
So you tell us what you're willing to tolerate.
Yep.
All right? And I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. All right? If you don't like it, let's air it right now.
Yep.
And you know, if you could get the mothers, there are no fathers, but if you could get the mothers to say publicly, please do this, please, to protect our children, but they can't because the mothers are afraid of all these hoodlums in the neighborhood, the drug dealers, the hookers, the pimps, and it all comes down to...
A lot of times it's poor grandma that's raising them.
Yeah. It is. They live in fear. The hoodlums run the streets.
Yep.
How do you take care of that? Well, you got to move on the hoodlums. But the community will not pick the phone up and drop a dime.
No snitching.
That's right.
Oh, no.
Now, I suspect the police have their own share of this blame that can be assessed to them. Because when informants have talked to the police have revealed those names.
Yeah, those names have gotten out. They weren't very good about
No.
it.
And not only that, but some of the cops are bent.
Oh, yeah.
And they're telling the drug dealers, here's who turned you in. And then, boom, that guy's dead.
Yeah, well, we know that from the old Whitey Bulger days.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
And that was the top of the corruption problem, but it just went right down.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not only Massachusetts. Rhode Island's got the same problem.
New York has got the same problem. New York is crime city, USA. Philadelphia, Detroit, Los Angeles.
I thought it was kind of unique that in Rhode Island they got a bunch of enforcement, particularly in the narcotics, by simply statistics. They took the average take when they made a raid or a bust on somebody, what they were taking off the dealer, 5,000, 4,000, 6,000. They averaged it all out. Then they came to Central Falls. They're getting like 200. Hey, wait a minute. Everybody else is up in the thousands and there's only a couple of $100 here. Where's it going?
You and I both know where it's going.
Yeah, it never makes it to the evidence room.
That's right. And you know what, too? There has been some of the EMTs in the back of the ambulances taking people to the hospital that have dipped into the pockets of the patient back there.
He's dead. He was one of my favorite uncles. And he always said, if you're traveling, don't carry a lot of excess money. He said that very thing. He says, you get in the back of an ambulance and you got $5,000 in that wallet, you won't have $5,000 when you get to the hospital.
Nope. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
We got off the subject to talk about that. What was the subject we were on?
Well, we started out with Trump's editorial, and then the announcement he made.
Yeah.
And then we went around to, then we circled around to violence in the city and streets of Boston. And now we're back to, go ahead.
A very interesting little piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning. WNBA star begins serving prison term. U.S. basketball star Brittany Griner has begun serving her 9-year drug sentence at a Russian penal colony notorious for its tough and unsanitary conditions, a development likely to intensify calls for her release. I'm not going to read the rest of it. I'm telling you, the Russians are dangling her in front of the U.S. and saying, ha ha, we've got her, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Or if you want.
We're the tough guys.
We're calling the shots.
Yeah,
here.
you're impotent.
Yeah.
And
there's no question about that.
And this is being played out on the world stage as America goes, oh, damn. How about if we give you 4 prisoners for her?
Yeah.
It's like us begging for oil over in the Middle East.
See, Bill, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I believe that if you're going to a foreign country, you know what you can and you know what you can't do.
That's right.
You don't go to a foreign country and violate their laws simply because you don't think that that's anything serious.
Spitting out gum is pretty damn serious. Was it Singapore?
Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a major fine.
You
or
better
even
believe
jail.
it.
But you know what? There's no gum on the ground.
And you know what? If you get caught spitting gum on, it's your own bloody fault.
That's right.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
What's worse yet, they go there and say, it's no big deal. I'm just going to spit my gum over here.
Throw
And then they
a-
whine. Remember the kid that was keying the cars in Singapore and he got caned?
Yep.
And the whining in this country, oh my God,
Yeah.
he didn't deserve
You know
that.
what, Dwayne? That brings up another one of my pet peeves. The way we treat car thieves and the people that key cars in this country.
Yep.
Now, with the finishes on cars that they put on cars now, sometimes a real serious keying totals the car.
Yeah, oh yeah. The
Yeah.
cost is
So
unreal.
what do you do? You've just lost a $42,000 SUV, a Buick SUV, a big one. You just lost it because some moron keyed it.
Yep.
They catch the kid and
Yeah,
bring
well,
him
then-
into court, and the judge says, "No, Bobby, you've been a bad
Yeah.
boy,
Bad boy.
and we're going to issue you a stern warning
That's right.
that if anything like this happens, you're going to be on 6 months probation.
Yep.
And if you step 1 inch over the line, you're going to be in front of me again." Bobby walks out the door laughing his butt off.
Yeah, I don't care.
Nothing happens. No, but yet the insurance company has to pay you $42,000
Which
or
we
so.
have to pay the insurance company, then our rates and everything
That's right.
else.
And then our rates go up.
Yep.
And these maggots go out and do it more. The same thing with stolen cars.
Yep. Well,
I-
this state was a poster child for that.
That's right.
You remember? It's been years when we first moved here. Car theft was a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
They would not make it a felony or not put much penalty in it because, well, how can you punish poor little Johnny, 15, poor little Johnny for getting in a car and taking it for a joyride? He's just a
He's
kid.
only a kid.
He's just a kid. Leave him
Yeah.
alone. Well,
His-
that was the attitude.
His noggin's not developed yet.
Traffic laws were not enforced. The enforcement people would say, "We don't. That's not our job. That's something. Speeding and accidents. That's something with the insurance company. Let them handle it. We don't have anything to do with that. It doesn't matter." That was the attitude they had here, and that's when the state was controlling. Remember, the state was controlling the auto insurance rates every year. The
Yep.
new rate would come out.
Yep.
I worked for a company in Canton, and then it was a big office building, a big office set up. And the week or so before they were going to announce the rates for the new auto rates, the water cooler gossip was, I heard they're going up 18%. And I said, I saw 22. And then they would come out and they'd go up 6 or 7.
Yep.
And everybody would go, wow, that wasn't the 18%. I said, you damn fools. There was never 18%. But they put out 18% and they raised 7, and you think you got a deal. They probably shouldn't have gone up at all. But you fell for it.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Every year you did.
I worked at the Foxborough Company, and we used to get a general wage increase each year. And my boss and I, I would say to him, hey, it's going to be 4.5% this year. Is that your guess? I said, no, that's a fact. And go, really? Well, he says, that's a good guess. and then it would come out 4.5%. It'd be posted a couple of days later. So we had a running thing going, like for 3 or 4 years that I worked for him, that I had it nailed every time.
Mm-hmm.
I never told him that my friend Pete Mahoney's mother worked in the print shop, and she had all the information
Ready to go. Yeah.
days beforehand. I never told him that. How do you know this stuff?
We lived in Ohio, and we always watched, like a lot of people watch Jeopardy every day. And it was a neighbor in one of the he said, my wife beats me every damn day. He said, I don't know what. He said, she knows all these answers, and she not even go to, she can go to college, she knows all the answers. You're going to come find out her sister lived someplace in Indiana where that came on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sister would watch it, call her up, and tell her what the questions were going to be and the answers. And she never told her husband all this time that she was getting every day ahead of time.
I could see that one coming a mile away. Yeah. Oh, listen, I've been having some good experiences lately.
Yeah.
So I went online to my broker, Fidelity, and bought 100 shares of stock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? They have a new disclaimer.
What is it now?
Well, it's small print,
Yeah.
and there's a box, and it said, I have read this entire disclaimer, and I am willing to, or I will abide by all the tenets, and I understand it all, blah, 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 and then hit yes or hit no. But in order to make the trade, I had to hit yes.
Oh, yeah. Take any chances that you were.
The new rules and regulations from the federal government on trading stocks, no lie, I counted them. 96 pages.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Because I scrolled down. Small print, I scrolled down, I said, there's 5, 6, 7, 96 pages.
Yep.
You tell me that there is anybody that read that,
No.
unless you're insane.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I went shopping the other day. Wanted to have a half a pound of bologna. My wife doesn't need it, but I like it for sandwiches.
I do too.
Yeah. 2 slices of bologna, slice of American cheese, a little mayonnaise. I'm as happy as can be.
Yep.
So, there's none prepackaged. They do that for, they
Yep.
put out partial loads. So, I said to the kid, I want a half a pound of bologna, more or less, just somewhere in the neighborhood. Slices a slice off. Now, he's standing at least as far away as you are from me.
Mm-hmm.
And he holds a piece of bologna up and says, "This okay?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine. Unless you have eyes like a bloody eagle and a measuring device, you don't know whether that's thin, thick, and I don't really give a damn.
That's why
I'm
you
going
usually tell
to
them,
eat
"I
it
don't care."
anyway."
Yeah.
I did. I said, "I don't care." That's what I said. I said, "Fine, just do it." What the hell are they thinking? Or is that policy that you have to
I
hold it
think
up?
that's pretty much they're taught to ask if this
Yeah.
Because I've seen people in there, particularly some of that are so fussy about how that is sliced. It has to be just a certain thickness and it doesn't.
What the hell's that thing? Is it a chronometer that measures?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to start packing one of those.
There used to be a guy at Stop and Shop. His name was Gary. He worked there, an older guy. And I used to kibitz with him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I said, "I want a pound of this." And I said, I want it 1/2 of a centimeter thick. And I want the pieces laid down north to south, and then alternate east to west, north to south. And he stops and he thinks, oh, come on. He said, then I started to laugh. He says, you usually don't care about how I cut it. I said, I was just giving you, because the woman in front of me was giving him squat about, oh, I want it thinner than that. I want it thinner than that. Thinner than that. And I said, you know, she's hurting herself by doing that. Every time you slice it thin, the thinner you get more slices to get more area to expose to the air. That degrades it doesn't
What are
help
they
it.
doing with those slices? Did they have to throw them out?
I guess, I don't know.
Man,
I don't like to see people waste food to start with.
yeah,
It's just something that bites my butt.
yep, I know,
You,
I know.
You go like the Stop and Shop, and they got sweet corn. They got a big pile of it.
Yep,
Well, they're there ripping them apart,
I know.
pulling them out. Don't like that one. Ripping another one. Don't like that one. I asked one day. I says, "What's the matter with those that you're taking?" Well, she says, "I'm very fussy about what I feed my family." I says, "You're very wasteful." I says, "They won't sell those that you just ripped apart." I said, "I don't mind taking those." Well, that's just something I do. Well, I says, then call it wasteful instead of being fussy.
And you drive up the prices because they
Yeah.
got to raise
Well,
the
she
prices
was
because
making
of
me
people
mad.
like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I also went to get a booster shot.
Good. Is this the 5th shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we get that. Where'd you get it?
Walgreens.
Okay, because CVS still got the sign up. They can't get enough.
Well, so I went up there because my wife said, you're supposed to make your reservation on the internet. She said, this website, she said, is ridiculous.
They usually are.
So I said, okay, well, fine. I'll just go get in the car and I'll go up there and I'll make the reservation in person.
Did you do the local one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went in and I said, can she come over? Can I help you? I said, yes. I'd like to make a reservation, please, for my wife and I, an appointment or whatever you call the damn things, appointment, I guess, to get our booster shots. Well, she's not going to start that till 1 o'clock tomorrow. I said, well, register me now. She said, I can't do that. I said, read the sign right there. It said, ask one of our assistants and we will be glad to help you with your appointment. I said, read that. What's it say? She said, sir, I've been told we're not taking appointments until 1 o'clock tomorrow. I said, where is your boss? Well, the boss overheard us. She came over and she said, okay, Judy, Jean, I'll take over. When would you like the appointment, sir? I said, whenever. She said, okay, so Jean, make an appointment for a half an hour from now. She said, oh, we can't do that. She said, the computer won't let us do that. She said, treat it as a walk-in. I can do that? Yes. We have a customer that wants an appointment. Oh. So she said to me, you have appointments at 2:30. It was 2 o'clock. And I said, that's fine. I'll go home and get my wife. I'll be back.
Yep.
I came back at 2:15. She had the medicine out. She had the needles ready. And she said, if you'll just be patient, I'll have you in and out in 10 minutes.
Did you get the Pfizer or the Moderna?
Moderna.
Moderna.
Yeah.
See, Pfizer's got one now, too.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, the point is that they're ready to do that.
Oh, yeah.
It just, well, it's not convenient.
It's just the
Oh,
way they...
you know. But you got to sign up that says you're going to cheerfully, I think was, or helpfully work with anybody that comes stumbling in the door. Just ask one of the associates. They'll be glad to make the appointment for you.
Yep.
And I wasn't going to leave until he did it. You can't do that on the internet. But boy, I'll tell you what, as I told the lady that was sitting there watching me do this, I said, I'd stand there for an hour if I have to.
Well, at least you didn't get banned.
Yeah. It's amazing. I had an interesting interface over to Roach Brothers with one of the senior ladies, assistant managers, and I was stuck on the do-it-yourself checkout,
Yep.
which I have now mastered. By
Oh,
the
good
way.
for you. I stay away from them.
Yeah. I said, I have to weigh the grapes to find out how many I have. She said, well, do this. Now do this. There you go. I said, oh, easy peasy. She says, yeah. I said, tell me something. I said, I read in the Wall Street Journal that it is more cost effective to have clerks working and checkout than these machines. That these machines are very costly and have to be reprogrammed and da-da-da-da-da-da. She said, oh, that's true. I said, so why do people have them? She said, because the machines show up every day.
Yep.
And once they're trained or
done.
programmed, they don't ask questions.
Yep.
She said, we try to hire as many young people as we can. They will not come in. We keep on raising the minimum that we pay. They do not come in. If they do come in, they're hopeless. She said, but then you get a couple of them that are, maybe this one's going to work out. And they're there for 3 days, and then they just don't show up afterwards. And she said they require so much training because they don't pay attention.
Yeah, well,
And I said, well, you know what? I said, but they know how to do this on the smartphone, and they know how to boop, 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 boop on games on the computer where they kill each other. She says, yeah. But she said, something practical? She said, they cannot do it.
Yeah.
She said, in fact, she said, the ones that come in, I doubt that they could ever climb a tree. Now, I thought that was kind of an off-the-wall comment,
that's
but
true.
they don't go out to play anymore. They're in the house, boop, 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 and they don't climb trees. They don't go fishing. They don't play pickup football or baseball games.
No, they don't.
No. And they are locked into this whole electronics and media.
We're raising generations of different kids than we used to have.
Yep.
They are a lot different.
And that's why the military has their problems. By the way, I have a thing about the military. We'll talk about it on the second half
we're
of the
about
show, because we just got the note that it's time for us to close this down. And I'll close this down with this note. You don't find too many girls named Hortense anymore, do you?
No, you don't.
Is it because the nickname Horny doesn't seem to work anymore?
Probably. There's a lot of names that you would never name a kid today.
All right. Well, listen, folks, this is your time to hit the head, get a couple more cans of beer, or just get up and stretch them, and we'll be right back.
Take care.